Hey, Coach, so excited that you found us on YouTube. You rock. Let me help you through this journey. 30 years of coaching, a lot of championships, one of the best programs in the country, high school programs in the country. Let me help you. Coached NBA guys, I can help you through this. One-on-one calls, office hours, teachhoops.com is the answer. I started it 3 years ago to help coaches just like you. Let me help you through this journey. This video is a small snippet of all the things we offer. Tons and tons of resources, community, and help. If you're looking for a mentor, you're looking for a Yoda, let me help you. Enjoy. All right, welcome to Coach Unplugged. Episode, you might be near the 2000s, Coach, because I think I'm at, I looked at recently, I'm at like 18. I got to plug myself back in here because you would think this was my first podcast. I unplugged myself. I was like 1,800 podcasts. My wife just doesn't even look at me anymore when I go into my office. It's like, oh my goodness, what are you doing? So Coach Kruger, right?
Yes, sir.
Freddie, you said that to me before we went on the air, so I'm not being mean. I'm not being mean. Great movie. Most like half the people listening to this don't even know what we're talking about. Yeah, that's the funny part. It's like definitely a generational thing.
Well, the best part is when I have a student come up and actually knows of the movies, and we'll say, "Hey, do you have a cousin named Freddie?" And I go, "Yeah, his name's Frederick. Yeah, we just call him Freddie."
You should have something. Yeah, well, you should have something ready for that, like a mask or something. Like, yes, I do. Yeah.
Or I name my son Freddie. Yeah, that works.
Yes. But Coach, I want you to kind of walk through your basketball journey, and just kind of introduce yourself, talk about it, kind of just, and then we're going to dive into. I'm very intrigued on your topic because I've just done this is an interesting topic for me. So that's a tease for the people that are listening. But I've got a lot of questions on this topic. But go ahead, introduce yourself, and kind of, you've had an interesting. Have you spent your whole life in North Carolina?
I have. Wow, it's a beautiful state.
It is a great state. There's a lot of people. I tell my students, I teach seniors for the most part. I said, do one thing for me. Make sure you travel this country because it's really cool. They go, what do you mean? I go, you have no idea. Like, drive across Texas once and see how long that state is. Or go to, watch. And then you go to Maine and then you go to North Carolina. They're like, it's like going to Wisconsin, or it's just different. Anyway. Go ahead, Coach. Go ahead.
Sure. I mean, North Carolina is definitely a great spot for basketball as well. But thanks for having me on.
Indiana would argue with you. Ohio,
of course they would. Yeah. We're the hoop state. That's what we say. But thanks for having me on, man. It's a great opportunity just to kind of share and give back and just kind of help other coaches with their journey. I started off playing basketball in high school, went on to play college. I was nothing special, played, community college, then transferred to a kind of a Christian college, played there for 3 years. Actually met my wife there. She played college basketball as well. So that was an interesting kind of meet there. Got married out of college when we graduated. My first job, you ready for this, man? Because I know you have some background on this. I was an athletic director. I was a middle school assistant basketball coach. I was a middle school science teacher and also a middle school PE teacher, just all over the board, man.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So hold on. I got a couple questions for you. First of all, playing in college, how was that experience for you? Because I played Division III too. It's an interesting experience, I think.
Yeah. So the first one, community college, it was a grind. It was just a lot of, you got to work on your own to get better. I mean, it was a decent experience in the sense of, I definitely, with community college, it's a stepping stone. You want to go to the next level. So I'm thankful for the opportunity I had there. And then kind of going into kind of D3, really low Christian college. Basketball kind of turned into something different for me in college, to be honest with you. It turned into more, what do I want to do with this in the future? Because I knew I wasn't going to play overseas. I knew I wasn't good enough for NBA, because college really, like, if you had any dreams and stuff in high school, when you play college and you see all the great talent that you go against and you're like, yeah, that guy's not going to play overseas. There's no way I'm playing overseas. What am I even thinking? That's just kind of a wake up call. And then just spending some time with the different coaches that I had through those 4 years, they really kind of helped me kind of see what I wanted to do. And my second college basically said, you got to figure out a major. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. So here's what I think, and I tell parents even in high school, we all reach that stage. Like by the time I was a senior in college, I had been playing basketball since I was 5. I was ready to hang up my sneakers and do something else with the game. I love the game, but it's a unique, most people reach that stage. Like it's like, it wasn't a grind for me, and I had lots of fun, and I could write a book on the stories that from traveling all over the country with and anyway, great fun with the guys, and but yeah, it changes. It does change. It's not as pure. It's not quite as pure even at D3. And then, okay, so then you met your wife, got married, got this job. How long did that last? Because holy cow.
Well, first off, the school was a very small private school, and they had never had a sports program. They were basically adding a grade each year. And so the year that I came, they hired me as AD to start the athletic program. And they were basically added 7th grade my first year and added a grade each year. And I was there for about 5 years. And one of the moments that kind of changed things for me was my headmaster, as we were getting bigger and bigger and bigger, basically said, look, you got to decide. Either you be a coach or you be an athletic director. Make your choice. And so that was the kick in the butt. Like, you know what? I can go somewhere else. I can figure this out.
Right.
So I was there for 5 years, kind of worked my way up. I was a middle school assistant for the first 2 years. The next 2 years, I was middle school head, JV assistant, because we just added a JV team. And then a job opened up at High Point Christian, which is not too far down the road, bigger school, 3A, talented players, going against college guys, going against Wesleyan and Greensboro Day and all those schools in North Carolina. And was there. I was a strength and conditioning coach, teacher, sort of. I was a middle school and high school PE teacher, and I was the JV head coach, and I was the varsity assistant coach for about 4 years, and some great experiences, great learning moments.
Right. So give some, what was the difference between the two from a learning standpoint, you think?
Sure. So the first one was very small, and the talent pool was not upper echelon, very low. And so it was really more developmental when it comes to the basketball sense, because we were trying to build something. And I mean, our first year, we had kids on our team that had never played basketball before. And teaching them
in middle school,
in North Carolina. In North Carolina.
Middle school, never played basketball in North Carolina.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just setting the plate there. Okay.
Yes. And so it was all developmental those first couple of years and learning that. And then I jumped to High Point Christian, which is 3A, which is like, we're going against guys that are going to be in college that we're going to see. Like, for instance, Bam Adebayo played at High Point the year before I got there.
So explain 3A to the listeners. 3A is the biggest, or what is 3A?
Well, so there's public and private in North Carolina, and public, has their own levels based on how many kids are in their school, and then private schools do the same thing. So 4A is the top tier, the big not necessarily one. Talent, but necessarily they have the most students.
Okay.
And then 3A, that's where I was at High Point, and then 2A, 1A. And there's some great teams that come out of 1A and 2A. Just because you're labeled that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not good.
All you need is a couple. You give me the right ones, it doesn't matter. I mean,
yeah, no, there's some horses out there.
I saw Zion's team and saw like it didn't matter. Like he was, anyway.
Spartanburg Day, South Carolina. Yeah.
No. Where did we went and played in a tournament there at Durham or Dunham or
Durham?
Durham? It started with a D.
Yeah, Durham, North Carolina.
It wasn't Durham, but I'm thinking the name of the high school. Durham?
Oh. I mean, Durham Academy. I know that. And there's different Durhams. There's like a
It was
South.
in Spartanburg. What's another school?
Oh, I don't know. That's the
Okay.
only one I know in Spartanburg.
Yeah, there was anyway, it was a big one. They freaking had a Chick-fil-A in their cafeteria. My guys were like, "What?" It's like, "Yes." It was huge. The place, huge football stadium. It was a big school, big arena, high school. Anyway,
Dublin.
Dublin, maybe that was it.
Dublin. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds
Almost
about
looked like
right.
a college, almost looked like a college facility,
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
D3. It's like my
There's
guys.
there's some really nice high schools in North Carolina.
Yes.
I'm at one of them right now.
Yes. Yes.
So but yeah, going 3A, it's a lot different. And you're looking more at I'd say developmental still there, but it's not as much as it is. It's more chemistry and more about finding the correct combination and working guys a certain way. Cause there's a lot of egos. There's a lot of guys that, they either transfer into High Point expecting to be the man because they were the man at their public school or another private school. Because I mean, we played, like I said, a lot of top tier talents, nationally ranked teams as well. So
yeah, it is. It's high school basketball's changed a lot. Yeah. Trust me. When we play Windermere Prep, we beat them. They're a really good school in Florida, prep school, blah blah blah, and beat them a couple years ago to win a tournament. But then we went down and just like, oh my god, they like set. Anyway, yeah, it's like the Wild West sometimes with schools and jumping. It's not in Wisconsin. It isn't really in Wisconsin because if you transfer after your sophomore year, you're ineligible for a year for varsity competition.
wow.
So yeah, so they try to really keep you in that, which is good. It's the way it should be.
I have a buddy in Arkansas. He told me his rules, and the rules are you have to sit out a whole year. Like you have to sit out a whole year if you transfer from another private to a private. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, it's like, here's my issue. It's like, if I was moving from southern Wisconsin, where Milwaukee and Madison are the big cities, and went to northern, like, you tell me my kid can't play? Like, what? Like, what kind of lawyer do I need to hire? That seems I can move. But anyway,
Yeah.
if you have a full and complete move like that, I think you are eligible. But
Yeah.
So okay, so then what happened after that? What was
High Point, at High Point, I basically told the varsity head coach there, I was like, look, give me opportunities, give me chances because I want to be a varsity head coach. He did a great job, gave me some great opportunities, some different things I got to do for the team. And just kind of I'd say the third year there, I started applying heavily and trying to get interviews and trying to get in. A lot of doors closed third year. And then fourth year at High Point, the right door opened. And that was at North Raleigh Christian Academy, where I'm at right now. The best part is that I took a new job as a new coach during the COVID year. So, yeah, crazy stuff.
How was that?
That was unreal because you had to build relationships through Zoom rather than like meeting people face to face. And man, my first workout, ready for this? My first workout, due to the rules, we could not touch a basketball at all. And if we touched a basketball, we had to wear gloves.
So this would have been, so we got shut down in March of 2020. So are you talking the 2020?
So 2020, I got hired at that April, May-ish. I was going to get the job.
Yep.
And so couldn't do any workouts in the beginning at all. And then around summertime, we were allowed to do some stuff. But we couldn't touch a basketball. If we did, we had to wear gloves. If I wanted to do anything with shooting, they would have to bring their own basketball and they weren't allowed to touch anybody else's basketball. We had to check temperatures before, every workout. We had a questionnaire we had to ask them every time. It was crazy. It was a crazy time.
Okay. So did you have a season then?
Yeah, about that. So we had a season, but we got quarantined twice. And
that would have been the 2021 season. Right?
Yes.
And you got quarantined tight. We didn't even have a season, whole year. Didn't coach for a year. My wife thought I was going to just quit everything. Like I was just like,
it it was a healthy thing for me in the sense that, okay, I will be okay when this eventually ends. I did see that.
Mm.
It was Zooms. But twice. So the following year in 21-22, we had a season and we got quarantined twice, I think, or we got shut down twice. We didn't get quarantined, but we got shut down the following year. Wow.
So yeah, we had originally we had 25 games on the schedule. We got quarantined twice, and so we got down to, I want to say 17 games, I think total. 17 or 16 games. I mean, no fans, no nothing. We had to, we had to make sure everybody got their temperature check before games. Like there was all kinds of stuff and regulations. But like one thing I just kept telling guys over and over again, you know, kind of like you guys didn't even have a season. That's like, let's just go with what we got, you know, suck it up, like deal with what we got so we can play basketball.
So what was the hardest part? So I'm just still trying to wrap my head around that being your first year. Holy crud. Like I mentor enough coaches around the country. Like I always say your first year is always hard anyway. Like, I mean, I got one of my friends who does high school hoops with me took off for like 7 years. And he's already done it once. I go, you know what's coming. He goes, I know. It's like chaos. Like,
Yeah.
and then you're trying to do in the middle of a pandemic. Oh my gosh. So what's the hardest part and the easiest part about that?
The hardest part was building the relationships because all I could do was phone, text, or call, or, you know, sometimes FaceTime. But, you know, with relationships, it takes a lot of face to face and rebounding for the kid and talking to them and figure things out. Like we weren't allowed to get in the gym before we even started practice. Like it was very certain times you had to be certain places, and it was hard. And like a lot of things that build chemistry, as in like going to hotels and staying over the night for tournaments, or, you know, having the team over for a team dinner. I was not allowed to have the team at my house whatsoever. I wasn't allowed to do any team functions outside of practice. Like it was very limited. And so, you know, it sucks, man. It sucks I didn't get to build relationships with those kids as much as I am now. Like with
right. It is literally like I could do a whole podcast on summer basketball and all that. Really, for summer for basketball it's a couple things. It's 100% about me connecting with them outside of the season, as a person, so they know me. The X's and O's and all that stuff is important. Don't get me wrong, but I used to lose sleep over like, why aren't we running the offense? It's because it's the summer and they're like in AAU form and they're not setting a screen. It's because it is what it is. It used to bother me. It's like, what am I going to do about it?
You asked what the best part was, and here's the best part. I had a waiting list for parent volunteers because those were the only ones allowed in the gym.
Like parents.
Your score, yeah. So your scorekeeper was allowed in the gym. Your person with the camera was allowed in the gym. And they even created a job for us. We called it the towel boy, but really it was a parent that just had like a towel and was behind our bench, and it was basically a free seat so they could see the game. But I mean, I had a waiting list, and I had to like, all right, senior parents, you get first dibs, and then junior, you get like everyone wanted those spots because that's the only way they could get in the game.
I love that. You should threaten to bring that back. I love that. I love that. I know. I think the whole huddle streaming thing changed, like everything. We all like, shoot, I haven't watched network television in eon, but I think everything changed. Like, just used to kind of be able to watch it at home now. I'm sure there's grandparents that are watching I'm sure you stream your games. I'm sure you stream.
We do. Yeah, we stream our games through our school website.
Yeah, so everybody does that now. It's just that it wasn't like, people forget, like 5 years ago, not everyone was doing that. So how that pivot has really occurred. All right, so let's talk about your topic here real quick, because I have a bunch of other questions. I'm gonna do a follow-up. You wanted to talk about defense. This intrigues me.
Oh, yeah.
If you can do this, I'm oh my gosh. I've struggled with this for 30 years, this topic. But go ahead, coach. I'm going to turn it over. And if you have to share your screen or over too, you can do that. But
sure, I'll probably share it here in a little bit. Well, okay, so 2 years in, as a head coach for this program. And North Raleigh Christian, before I got the job, just has not done well. And the main reason it hasn't done well is because we are in 4A with a bunch of talented, very tall, very athletic teams that we have to play against every night. And I would say we're playing college guys, once, maybe sometimes even twice a week. And we just don't have that talent, or we're just not there yet. We're going to get there one day. We're going to get there. But
so is it you don't have the size, or you don't have the?
Yes.
Yeah.
So like my tallest guy my first year was maybe 6'6". My tallest guy second year was 6'6". Last year, before this year, I had a 6'4". That was my tallest guy. This year, probably going to be 6'6", 6'7", depending on if he has a good hair day.
No, when people are listening to this, they're having no empathy for you at 6'6", 6'7" around
No. Hold on. You need to understand something. We go against teams that have 6'10", 7 foot.
No. I know, I understand that, but listen, the people listen to this all over, and they're going, "He's complaining about having 6'6". I mean, you get a Northern Wisconsin team that's going to have like 200 kids in the entire school. Like they're going to go, if I have somebody above 6'1", I'm happy. So I know what you're saying. I hear you.
Well, I apologize, and I apologize for complaining about my 6'6" kids.
I mean, I'll take a team of 6'4" to 6'6" kids. I love that. I love long, because that's relative. I mean, when you're a 6'6" and you're a guy, you're still. I'm a stats teacher. You're 2 standard deviations. You're not average. You're above average, more than above average.
Let me ask you this: when you go up against a 7-footer, do you front the post or do you double team it?
Well, we're gonna go against 3 of them this year. One in our league and 2 other ones. One, they're all D1 guys. We're gonna double. I think we're gonna double. I think we're gonna make them shoot at least 2 of the 3 teams. We're just gonna come at them. I mean, they're just, if they catch it and they're close. I give credit to all 3 of the coaches and the player. They get it. They're making it. Like if they're 4 feet from the basket, that's going in. So we're probably gonna have to double it.
We do a mix. We front and then double.
Well, so the problem is here's my theory with fronting is I tell them to front, and they only front it about 30% of the time anyway, because they can't get around it.
Yeah.
So my coaches go, well, we have to front. I go, well, yeah, let's say we're gonna front. So what are we gonna do the other 60% of the time when they don't get around on the front? Because they move the ball and they skip. We better have a plan, because we can say we're fronting everything. And I've watched enough high school basketball in 35 years. You can say it, but they're not getting around every time. So when they don't get around, what are we doing? And then we better have a backup plan. You better have that jacket in the car in January in Wisconsin when the car breaks down, or you're going to freeze to death.
Oh yeah.
Better have a plan.
With my wonderful 6'6" kids. So looking at my program as a whole, I've been there for 2 years, and we're not there. And so how do I help my guys have an advantage and some way of getting there? And the more and more I watch game film on myself, the more and more I'm like, we got to fix our defense. We got to get better. And so last summer, I just made it my mission. We're going to change our defense. We're going to change it to fit who we are and what we're going up against, and to give us an advantage. And what I did was I just did some research. I looked into different types of defenses. One of the ones that really stuck out to me was Tyler Costin's lock left. Are you familiar with that one?
I am. We run something different called the funnel down, but it's similar. We double. We have different. Yeah.
Well, I got into that, and there's parts of it I don't like, and there's parts that I really, really like. And so
that's what I did. I took what I liked, and then I didn't. Then because we trap short corner behind the backboard.
Gotcha.
Funnel down. Because you have a defender in that back. So we funnel them to that. The hard part with here's the problem I have with lock left. With Tyler. Tyler's an unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
Follow him. He's unbelievable. Very good. Great teacher. Is with at the boys game, they're going to get it on the other side. I'm sorry. They just are. I'm dealing with athletes. You're not going to lock them on the left, and you're not going to lock them on the left half the time. So that's why we funnel. If we want to go left, But if they get on the right side, we just funnel on the right side. So we teach that, okay, now they're funnel on the right side. They're probably a little bit better going to the right, which means we just got to we got to get over a little bit more than we do on the left. That's part of it is like, yeah, I like that lock left, but yeah, I mean, I think it works better for the girls game in some respects, especially the lower level girls game.
Well, I took parts of that, and I then found Chris Beard's Texas Tech defense that he ran on his way to the national championship, and I took kind of that and molded it together and kind of made my own.
I love that.
And what I kind of wrote,
and that's what everybody. I don't mean to interrupt. That's what everyone should do. This listening to this. I mean, I run funnel down. I run other things. You got to figure out what works for your team, for the coaches that are listening. So there is no secret sauce. Sorry, Chick-fil-A, but there is no secret sauce. You got to find your secret sauce for you.
Well, and I wrote this too. So the first step, like in changing your program, just do your research. I feel like even as from a teaching standpoint, I feel more confident when I'm in front of students when I know more about my subject. And so my goal was to find out everything I could about lock left and everything I could about Chris Beard, and then figure it all out and then piece it together. And then my next step was just to write it all out, write out all my terminology. What am I going to say to players? What can I say to them that it may be one or two words, but it means a whole paragraph of words? What's our language going to be like from the bench to the players and from coaching to players, because you only have a limited time and timeouts. So I really wrote out the terminology. I wrote out the expectations. What are we expecting when a person closes out? What are we expecting, on screens, all this, so that it's all clear and transparent. And then lastly, just kind of what are we going to chart? If this defensive minded program is going to be important to us, we can't just say, oh yeah, we want to be better at defense. No, we got to have some things that we check off, some things that we check and chart. And so I kind of wrote that all out for our team. And then the last part, you got to sell it. You know how it is as a coach, you got to sell it. But I found out you
can sell anything to teenage boys. Trust me, if you sell it right. I'm convinced of that. I am.
Well, you got to sell it with your words and your actions.
You do.
And that's the key part. I can blow up a bunch of smoke about this defensive program that I'm all into, but if it's not showing in practices and what I say and what I do on a game day, it means nothing.
Yeah, and you got to sell defense. I'm convinced you got to sell defense more, because they all want to do whatever you say offensively. Couple things. Go ahead.
Go ahead, because I want to get more into the sell part, but you go, man. Go
okay. Yeah. So first of all, I want to talk, before we get to the sell, the terminology part. So explain what you do with terminology, because I think that's important. You need a dictionary. You need when you're building a program, I agree. You need terms that you're going to use so your freshman coach knows. I mean, yeah, it's basically an encyclopedia, a dictionary, a Bible, whatever you want to call it. It's a list of here's what we're going to do, and here's the terms. And some people call it helpline, some people call it goalie, some people. You got to come up with a term so everyone knows what you're talking about. Otherwise, there's no language. I love that. How did you do that when you came up?
So did a little bit of some PowerPoint, did a little bit of some writing it out, and showed them. I even showed them, like, for instance, when I do this, that means you need to think smarter. You need to think about your actions, like think before you process that. Fist, things like that. High five. One of the things we did was kills this year. I'm sure you've heard of kills, where 3 stops is a kill. We bought in onto that, and the guys loved that and went crazy for that. Kills is 3 stops. Our drop man, stunt hunt man, our goalie. We tried to make it very, very short and sweet, because you can't sit in the game and explain something to somebody. Hey man, you need to drop back and make sure you're in this part. No, we just say, look, drop. That's your signal to, oh, I got to get back. I got to get back in my stance. I got to be looking at my man and ball. Where is it at? I'm looking to try to get a steal. Just the terminology, writing it out and explaining it to the players. And then
I think it helps you as a coach. For the people listening, I think it helps you too. Like,
yes,
it doesn't matter what you know, it matters what they know. And I think writing that out and you'll be surprised. Like you'll forget stuff, and when the first time I did that is like, and I love the kills because it's three. If you've listened to any of my stuff, people remember things in groups of three. That's why our phone numbers broken up, our social security numbers broken. People can't remember long things. It's just that's not the way your brain is wired. So we do kills too. We also, if someone scores on, if we don't get 3 stops or someone scores on us 3 straight times, we're out. We change up what we're doing defensively. We do things based on that 3. So I love, and the boys know that it's like 3 stops, 3 scores, whatever. It's we're the small little tidbits, those tapas values is I love that.
Well, I love the 3 mainly because before kills, the mindset is looking at the whole game, the game as a whole. And if you break it into 3 possessions at a time, it helps keep the short attention spans from these kids, because you know how it is. Phones, tablets, all these things, like it gets lost. And if they can focus on 3 things, 3 possessions, and do well with that. Plus, we have a rule that when it's kill time, the bench tells the players on the court. So like when we get into that 3rd possession, the assistant coach who's charting it will say, guys, it's a kill. And then the bench will go nuts. Kill, 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 kill. And so, all of our guys, they get pumped, they get excited because like, here's a chance for a kill. Here's a chance to get a stop. And it helps. It helps out in so many ways, just putting that emphasis on we are focused on defense. And I'm going to get into more of that in a little bit.
Yeah, I love that. So there's something I do too. I'm going to tell you that, like at the end of a game or at the end of a quarter or something, or big parts of a game, you basically got it in stats teacher. You got to get a stop, a score. Like I'll come to a timeout and I say, we're here right now. Get a stop, score, stop, and we're done. Like you stop them and you score, and then you stop them again. Game over. We don't have a shot clock either. I have to come up with a name. I just wrote myself a note. I got to come up with a name for that, like an acronym or something. But we'll do the other way too. We'll do score, stop, score, game over. Like if we have the ball, we'll go the other way. Because again, the way their brains are, because they're on Snapchat or TikTok or whatever they're doing, it's small. So in the timeouts, they're going like, yeah. It's like, I go, come on, right now. We get a stop, a score, and a stop. Game. We'll play 45 games over. We're in the bonus, game's over. You know that. And we'll practice that. And I love that. And it's a short little, it's again, that group of 3 thing. I love that. I love that.
Speaking of the groups of 3, so 1, do your research, 2, write it out, and then 3, sell it. So can I share my screen real quick? I want to show
go ahead.
A little something right
People
now.
that are listening, I'll put this down in the show notes too, so you can watch it later.
So let me make sure I get this right. All right.
Mascot, you're Spartan?
No, it's the Knights.
The Knights.
The Knights. So there's the 3. Do your research, write it out, sell it with your words and actions. And then this is what I did with my team. I have a classroom. And so this is my whiteboard right here. And I wrote out these 3 things. And I said, guys, if I could take our schedule and I put all of our games in categories, these are the 3 categories that they belong. Number 1, games you're supposed to win. Those are the blowout games. Those are the games like, we know we're playing this small school or the school that's never been good. Like they're the games you're supposed to win. The second one, 50-50 games. Those are the tough games. Those are the games that, you get really pumped and excited for, chance to win, but you got to earn it. And then the last one, games you are not supposed to, to win. The games that you're supposed to lose.
And you do this in your classroom with your team.
With my team. So I wrote all 3 on the board.
Them, because I'm telling you, my guys are going to put none in the lose section.
Well, here's the deal. I'm very honest and very transparent about that. And I will tell teams up front, like, you are supposed to lose this game, but we have a chance. And I kind of get into that because I don't want to be the coach that like tells them we're going against Goliath here. And we're like, we're 20-point underdogs here. Oh, guys, man, we're going to beat these guys by 50. Like, heck no, I lose all credibility with these kids. So I feel like if I'm just honest and I tell them where it's at, they're more likely to buy into my strategy.
I agree. I'm just conceptually going through this in my head right now with the group I have. And it's like, I would put a couple over here that we're playing pretty good.
Hey, Coach, hope you're liking the video. If you are, hit like down below. That helps us a lot for people to find us. That's the first thing. Second thing is make sure you subscribe and hit that little bell up above, and you'll get a notification every day when we put a new video up. And then go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better.
Teams, but this would be an interesting, we might have to try this year, because this would be an interesting, I'm not sure the 50, they would have 80% over in the games we were supposed to win category, I think. And maybe that's me just selling them really well. I don't know.
I can see that.
Yeah.
So I showed them that, and I said, look, there's an X factor here, an X factor that can change all three to make us better. And I wrote on a blue marker, granted with this PowerPoint, I've got this. I wrote defense underneath each one. I said, defense is the X factor that's going to affect each one of these, and it's going to make us better. I said, let's start with the first one. Here's what's going to happen with games you're supposed to win. Number one, it's going to build confidence, because we're going to yep, our defense works. The things that we're trying to do are working against this team. And the best part is, we don't have a magic number where you have to get 7 kills a game, but we try to get as many kills as we can and really focus.
So you haven't charted that and figured out.
I've charted it. On wins, we averaged about 5 to 6
kills.
On losses, we had about 1 to 2. That's where we averaged.
So you are tracking it. So at some point you're going to be able to, because I'm telling you, as you do this longer, you're going to know. If you do this for 2 more years, you'll have 4 years of data. You'll know, if we get 6 kills, we're going to win. You're going to know.
Me and my assistant, we really push for 2 kills a quarter. That's kind of what we've been trying to push, because that's a little bit of it's hard. It's hard to do. But and one of the things too, one of the things I shared with the guys, I showed a clip. I don't know if you've seen it. Nick Saban, head coach for Alabama. There's a funny clip where he is up 58-0 on a team, destroying a team. And he's going nuts on his players. They had lined up a certain way, they weren't doing what they're supposed to, and he's going off. And I was like, guys, I'm not like Nick Saban. I'm not going to go off on you, but do you understand why he has that intensity? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, because he has an expectation and they've got to meet it, no matter who they're playing against.
Right.
And so with our defense, we're going to work on our defense, whether we're playing somebody we're supposed to beat by 20 or somebody that we're supposed to lose by 20. So we want to keep our expectations, and kills really helps with that. Really 3 possessions at a time. You're not worried about the score. You're focused on yourself and focused on getting stops. Now the 50-50 games, this is what I told them. It turns the game into a 60-40. Defense gives you, if you have 2 teams that are even, talent, skill, strategy, plays, 50-50, what's going to give you that bump? Defense is going to basically push it up to a 60 and make them go to a 40. And that's our goal. If we can be the better defensive team against teams we're even with, we're going to win every time, 60-40. And then the last one, my guys like this one. Besides building confidence, getting kills against the top tier teams, because that will carry you the rest of the season.
Yes.
If you got a team that, even if they beat you by 30, heck yeah, we got 3 kills on their starting 5 in the first 2 quarters. That's going to help as coaches really build that confidence in your players and say, look, you can do this. You just got to keep doing it throughout the game. And then lastly, it gives you a chance. And one of the things I did with them, and I've updated it since then, I shared what's the greatest upset in NCAA tournament history?
NC State.
Nope. UMBC, Virginia.
Villanova.
No, UMBC, Virginia. 16-1.
Oh yeah, okay, I'll give you that. But
I'm
just talking about. I was thinking championship. I was thinking, okay,
no, the greatest. And I updated it with the Purdue one. I'll share that in a second. So I shared with them some stats. I said, Virginia, there's got to be a reason why Virginia lost to a 16 seed. They're not supposed to. If they played UMBC 20 times, guarantee you Virginia wins 19 out of the 20 times. And we got to see the 20th of those games. And it was all their defense. And I shared these stats with them. So Virginia averaged from 3-point, they averaged 38% on the season. Most games they win were way over that. Well, against UMBC, 18%. And you and I both know that in college, it's not that you really get wide open shots. It's you got a hand in your face, hand in your nose,
right.
Whatever. Also field goal percentage, they went from they're averaging 47 and higher to about 41%. And I said, guys, that's what gave UMBC a chance. They contested shots, played tough defense, and really just wore down Virginia when it came to that greatest.
And you got to be there. You got to be there at the end. If you're there in the last 4 minutes, you got a shot because they'll start looking. That's what I tell my guys when we were playing. Like, if you're there at the end, that's why when you're supposed to win, you got to put them away. Because if you're there, if it's a game with 4 minutes, I love that.
Well, and I added, so after March Madness this year, Purdue, another number 1 seed, I looked at the same stats, same thing, and I added it for next year when I sell it to my players again. Same thing. It's crazy. Purdue was averaging 32% on the season for their games, scoring a lot higher than that from 3-point, and they had 19.2% that game. Field goal shooting, 45% on the season. They shot 35.8. And Purdue, did you watch Purdue much this year?
I did. I had them going too far in my bracket, to be honest with you. They should have known better. Young guards and the big guy should have known better.
Well, they were high. The reason I bring that up is they were a very high scoring team, and they averaged about 73 points per game, and they lost and only had 58. Like, that's defense.
Yeah.
Both great upsets, defense. And that's what I sold them on. Well, the Virginia one, not the Purdue one. Purdue one's for this year. But it gives you a chance. You're not supposed to win 19 out of 20 times, but what if tonight's that 20th?
I love
and
that.
Your defense is going to set the tone for you to get a chance to beat them. So that's why I sold them on. And then they, from there, using the terminology and using the drills and getting into it, it was awesome. It's just, I charted some things I wanted to share with you. So year 2 for me, this is, year 1 was COVID, and year 2 is kind of a normal year. This is where I did help defense and deny and all that stuff. I charted charges, steals, blocks, and turnovers, all the essential.
So say that again. You did shots.
I did charges.
Okay.
Steals.
Yep.
Blocks.
Okay.
And then opponent turnovers for year 2.
Okay.
And
that's what started during the game.
Well, these are charted at the end of the season because I do huddle charts it for me. And so I charted those things. And at the end of the season, I had them all listed out. And I told myself, I want to beat these numbers, with our defensive minded system. From charges, year 2 to year 3, charges, we had 43. And we played, now granted, all these stats, we played 30 games year 2. We played 29 games year 3. So we played one less game, mind you. So year 2, we had 43 charges. We went to 62 charges. Steals, we had 231 steals in year 2. We went to 315 steals in year 3. Blocks, 20, and granted, 6'6" kids, okay? 20, we went to year 3, went to 35. And then opponents' turnovers, we went from 473 to 552.
Oh, that's interesting. So what put them in order of importance? I know what I think my order importance defensively. Okay.
Number 1, charges. I'm huge on charges, man.
Okay. I would agree.
Opponents' turnovers would be 2.
Yeah.
And then I'd go steals 3 and then blocks last.
Yeah. Blocks is a funny stat from a stats teacher. It's like, I'm not sure the cost benefit, unless you got an aircraft carrier, is worth it on blocks. I'm just not like,
yeah,
you get 5 fouls. And if you're a good, they'll hear me say this the third week. I've had like 3 shot blockers in 30 years. The rest of you are just foulers because you don't, shot blocker blocks a shot. It's a volleyball thing. They block it. They don't foul. They don't get foul. They don't foul the thing. So blocks is that one thing that I've always, it's like, I'm not sure the cost benefit on blocks. It's just a food for thought for coaches listening to.
Well, I limit my players in blocks because I teach that you have to be the second person to jump. And so a lot of
that helps. That solves the problem. Yeah.
A lot of great block shotter or the tongue tie. A lot of great shot blockers are first jumpers. They anticipate the shot, they jump, they block. And so we still have guys try it. Don't get me wrong. There's still kids that want to block shots.
Now, what about steals? Do they get out of position on steals?
Steals, it's mostly, so the way we work is we push the sideline. And so our steals are going to come from either the guy on the ball, or our stunt and hunt. So we don't teach deny. We teach you're there and you're hovering and you'll do a little stunt when a guy drives, but then you need to take away the pass, because the most shot in training videos that you will see of all these kids on Instagram and whatnot, they're all practicing threes. They're all practicing dribble moves to shoot a three, kick out threes. I mean,
yes, they are.
Most kids on the gun, they shoot threes. It's all.
And what do you say before we go on deeper? What should a kid shoot? I asked my players this the other day. What should you shoot in an empty gym on a machine, percentage wise? From three. Empty gym.
40 to 50.
Oh, higher than that. No. It should be between 60 and 70. Because you're going to drop about 15 to 18 percentage points in a game, and then you're going to drop another 7 to 8 percentage points with a hand in your face.
Can you send me one of your 60 to 70% shooters, 3-point shooters?
Sure. One of them is my son. It's like he can shoot 70% in an empty gym with a gun. Man. It would be ding, 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 ding. And because it's like shooting a free throw. There's nothing to it.
I'll trade you a 6'6" kid.
Okay. I'm just saying. So most people around the country, in an empty gym, you should be in the 60% range. High 50s at the worst, because there's no one there defending you. You're going to drop 15 to 20 percentage points in a game. Yeah, easy. But anyway, that's stats teacher. Sorry. Keep going.
It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, so we charting that, kind of showing that, and I'm excited because I get to show the guys this coming year these stats and show them, hey, look, this defense works. You're going to be better. You're going to do better things. And then just building on that, because now I have guys that actually know it, the guys that are returning, and then kind of adding some new guys into the fold. So really excited to kind of work on this. And that's
how do you build this? How do you build this into practice and stuff you do?
So one of the things I did was I had a kill drill. I did every, see if I can get it right here. Here it is right here. So I did this at the end of every practice. Granted, if I'm honest, there was maybe a couple practices I didn't, but I would say maybe 80% of our practices, we had this at the end. And what it was is I would put 10 minutes on the clock, 7 minutes on the clock, and say, look, both teams have got to get a kill. And we got to get it done, or minutes up and your team didn't get a kill. And one of the worst things, just shame, disappointment, like you got to get a kill. And so we did mostly 5-on-5, but other coaches could try to do 3-on-3, 4-on-4. 3 stops is a kill. We don't in practice. Now in a game, it's different. In a game, we count if the ball goes out of bounds based on, it hits an opposing player and goes out of bounds. We'll count that as a stop because we got the ball back. But in practice, we don't count those. It has to be either a steal or a rebound in order to be a kill in the kill drill.
Okay.
So,
okay.
But both teams need to get a kill. The offense gets to be on defense if they score. If not, they're stuck. And they're stuck on offense until they got to earn the right to be on defense. That's our mindset. You earn the right to be on D. And then any foul that's called by me or my assistant coaches, we just reset the possession. And
to 0? You go to 0 then? Or
no, we just reset the possession. So like
possession.
If they had,
okay.
Yeah. So if they had 2 stops and they're on their third for a kill, somebody fouls, then we blow the whistle, say restart the possession. They still get a chance to get that third one.
Okay. So I'm again thinking like someone that's coached a really long time. So you have 2 groups of, let's say you have a blue group and a red group. So the blue group gets 3 stops, then they go on offense, and they're going to be on offense until the blue group gets 3 stops.
Yep.
Is there a limit to that? Like you just keep going at the end of practice till someone gets it? Because I could see my guys letting them get stops.
No, my guys don't, because it's a competition, and we keep track. We keep track of we have different competitions we have in practice that we'll keep track of teams that win. And so we'll
deal
with that.
Okay.
And then also we give teams, for instance, let's say blue gets a kill first, and then red is struggling. They're getting scored on left and right. Well, we let blue rack up kills, and just say, look, get as many as you can. Like, that's fine. It's going to make you better, make them better.
Okay.
Red, you
yeah, I was trying to think of like, well, they did this in 6 possessions. You did, trying to keep them honest a little bit. Like, you know, they got 3 kills in 12 possessions. You got your kill, but it took you 15 possessions. They win, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to think out loud because I know I could see a couple. I know there's one guy that would definitely miss on purpose. Like, to go, it's like, don't do that. Okay.
No, we make it very clear.
Competitive.
If you're making it easy for a guy, then you're cheating the team.
Yeah.
And we have a rule, not a rule, more expectation. Before practice, we dab each other up. We talk to each other real quick before we get in our huddle. And then at the end of practice, we do the same thing. And the mindset is, yeah, we can be buddy, we can be friends before practice, but as soon as we start practice, we're at war. We want to get better.
Right.
But as soon as practice is over, the beef has to be squashed.
Yep.
Like, you can't have any issues. You got to be able to look each other in the eye, shake hands, move on. And if you do have some issues, we need to deal with it right then and there after practice.
Okay.
Talk it out, get it over with, move on. Because we're not going to have chemistry issues. We're not going to have that problem.
Yeah, I love that.
So here, I'm gonna stop sharing right now because
okay.
But yeah. So yeah, that's one of the things we did.
Do you see any obstacles in this? Like anything that is going to be problems moving forward? Because you're saying you're here and you need to go here. Is that what you're saying? You're saying you're close, but
well, the mindset was this: do I expect my players that aren't as athletic and as quick as the guys they're guarding? Do I expect them to stay in front of them? And so, is that a fair expectation? And I felt like it wasn't. I felt like there's some guys you can. So that's why I did the whole push sideline and have a goalie. And so in the Chris Beard system, if you get beat, you stay with them, you try to nudge them out. While you're nudging out, you have your goalie that comes and helps you out. Because the shot that we want them to shoot is a mid-range jumper or a mid-range floater. That's your goal. You don't.
So who's the goalie? Where's the goalie coming from? Is he guarding the lowest guy?
He's guarding the lowest guy, either the post or he's guarding the guy that's on the outside corner, depending on what they're running.
So what happens if they drive and they kick? That's always our concern. That's why we try to get high hands.
That's where the stunt
for the 3.
Yeah. So on the backside, so not where the ball is at, on the backside, we have our drop man. Our drop man's going to drop off. And as soon as a pass is made, if it does get made and we don't get a steal, we go in scramble mode. And that's another one of our terminologies. We call scramble. So if you hear a coach call scramble, don't guard the guy you're guarding. We need to find the ball. You
got to run him off the line no matter what.
Yes.
Okay.
And so all 5 guys are in charge, and we do a scramble drill, which is really a lot of fun. Just 4 or 5 guys on the outside. Every time a pass is made, we yell scramble. Everyone has to guard somebody different, and just kind of getting them that mindset of talking, 1, and 2, understanding I don't have to guard the guy I've been guarding all game long. And that is, if I could get my middle school coaches to really harp on that, you don't have to guard your guy. You can guard other guys. You can switch on screens. It's okay. And I know they do a great job. But if I could really get that fixed at the middle school level as they build up, it would help. Because in the high school realm, we deal with it too. Just guys get stuck in. I get called upward basketball where do you know what upward basketball is?
I do.
Oh,
my daughter, both my kids played upward. The problem is that's why we switch most ball screens. Yeah. We just switch them because then who knows who you're gonna guard. I mean, we'll talk about it, but it's like as long as we know we're doing it.
We switch. Our rule is you switch unless it's a bad screen, and you can tell a bad screen from a mile away.
Right.
If you got space, just get around them. Not a big deal. But if it's a good screen, automatic switch.
How do you get your guys to talk defensively?
So I stole this from Duke. Sadly, I'm not a Duke fan. I'm a Carolina fan. I watched a video of Duke. They had them stretching and talking the entire time and talking loudly about even what they were doing. And so what I do is at the beginning of practice, because my mindset is at practice, your energy level, your communication, your shooting is going to be at its best in the beginning. So if we can set a high expectation in the beginning, it's going to drop as the practice goes, but at least it's going to be higher than it would be if we never even started the expectation. So in stretching, I'll give them questions to talk to guys. I'll say like, what's your favorite pizza? Or, you see the game last night. What'd you think about this? And they'll talk to the guy beside them while they're stretching and doing dynamic warning, trying to get them to talk. And then we go into like that 1-2-3 drill, or we'll go into a different communication drill and just really harp on defense and communication in the beginning and defense and communication at the end, because that's when we need it our best.
Right.
And so really pushing that expectation in the beginning and then coming back to it and then showing that it's important. We got to have it at the end of the game, got to have it at the beginning of the game, and hoping that, because it's not going to be perfect all the way.
No, and I'll tell you from someone that's been in the biggest games multiple times in this state, and it's like they will not hear you in a big game.
Yeah.
And they will barely hear their teammate who's 4 feet away. So that's what I tell them. I said, you have to talk. Like, if you don't, you're not going to, the officials don't hear me yelling at them. They're not going to, you're definitely not going to hear me changing. If you guys aren't communicating, it's going to be a mix up, and that's going to be the difference between us winning and losing, because you guys aren't going to, and that's what I'll like, that game right before state tournament where it's a couple thousand people and it's packed and it's hot and it's middle of March and it's crazy. I said, you're not going to hear me. You're going to hear me zero, because it's going to be so loud. So, but I love that. I love the communication, like everything. It's just, it's so pulling teeth with some kids.
Yeah.
I said, I don't care what you say. You can start singing a song. I don't care. I just want to hear you. Because you're right. It's that energy. I'll do that early in like one of our first film sessions. I'll just start have them clapping. I said, just start clapping. And I said, what does that do to your body? Can you feel that energy? They said, it's the same thing when you're talking. It's just, it builds the energy, and studies have been done on that. The noise and the talking help, because it's hard. You've been in school all day, that all the carbs you ate at lunch are wearing off. Anything else with defense, coach, you want to talk about?
I think that's it, man. That's what I got for you.
Okay. What's the hardest thing to teach in practice for you?
The hardest thing to teach in practice. Man, that's a good one.
Thanks.
Yeah. I would say, so this is one of the, so I try to pick something I work on every summer. And I would say rebounding has been really tough, because I used to be a big box out and, find a guy, box out, turn, see ball. And then last year I did more of a movement concept. So when the ball goes up, you got to move, whether that's you're moving back to protect against cherry pickers or you're moving to go get the ball. I would say that's been the struggle lately. Just trying to figure out what I really want when it comes to rebounding.
Find, get. There you go. I gave it to you. Hit, find, get. There's your 3. I'll send you a sheet. We have everything down to 3 things. Everything we do is 3 things. Rebounding is hit, find, get.
Let me be devil's advocate here. So what if a kid sees the ball bounce and it's coming towards him? Does he go for the ball or does he go for the hit?
Yeah, there's exceptions to every rule. They're referred to as outliers statistically. That doesn't happen that often, to be honest with you. It really doesn't.
I had a player ask me that once.
Yeah, go get it. Like, I'm not going to tell you not to go get the ball.
Oh, yeah.
But most of the time when the shot goes up, you got to go hit the person and then go, then find out where it's going to bounce and then go get it. Again, it's the rule of 3 thing. It's 3 things. Basically, everything you do should be 3 things. Like, when you have a ball, you can do 3 things, right? You can pass it, you can dribble it, or you can shoot it. Everything's 3. I'm telling you, it's crazy. When you look at it, it's crazy. So how many assistants do you have?
So I try to have 2.
Okay.
I had 2 this year up until December. One of my assistants actually got offered a head coaching job somewhere.
Well, that's good.
So that's a good way to lose an assistant.
That's a great way to lose this. What I'm saying is I usually put one of mine in charge of rebounding.
Gotcha.
That's your job. Like, if we're not rebounding, it's on you. Like, so they're on them on practice all the time. That's what I just think it's an important. I will take care of turnovers because they drive me bonkers. So I will do that. I don't have to have anybody else do it. But rebounding is one of those things that, yes, there's some drills and there's some things you can do, but you just got to be on them all the time. If rebounding is one of those things, I agree. It's just one of those things you always have to be on. If you could only do one thing in practice, what would you do?
Defense. Because kids play enough basketball games, pick up, they play for enough coaches, they can run an offense. Like if I had a game tomorrow, I could say, hey, pass it 5 times and shoot, or pass and score off a screen. But defense, really, you got to lock in. Really
it's like eating your vegetables. Yep. Everyone wants. I mean, if I always say offense is like ice cream and defense is like your vegetables when you're little. Nobody wants to eat the vegetables.
I like that.
You gotta
I'm writing that one down right now.
Write that. I just came up with that one. Actually, I've never said that to my team, but I'm gonna use that one. They just sometimes come to me. I've just done this so long. All right, I'm going to do rapid fire. This will take a little while. It's not really rapid. What's your favorite type of basketball or brand of basketball?
The pumpkin ball Evos.
The what?
Wilson Evos. They look like a pumpkin because they're orange.
They're orange. Okay, the Wilson. I'm going Evo. I've never Wilson. Okay. All right. Yeah. One word to describe your ideal player.
Leader.
If you go to one sporting event for free in the world, what would you go to and why?
Tar Heels versus the Duke Blue Devils, because I am a hardcore Tar Heel fan and my wife is a Duke fan, and I would love to go there with her and watch them beat Duke.
I might put that in top 10. Like rivalry kind of. I don't know if you're a baseball fan, but if you've ever been to a Yankees Red Sox game, you should do that at some point in your life.
Yeah.
That is the biggest rivalry I've ever seen. Like, yes, everyone should do that once in their life. Go to a Red Sox Yankee game. They literally despise each other. I've never seen a rivalry like that. And I've been to a lot. I've been to Bears, Packers. I've been to no, this is a whole different world. Trust me.
It's pretty bad with Duke and Carolina.
I bet that's in the ballpark with the Yankees and Red Sox. Favorite pregame or postgame meal?
Ooh, Taco Bell pregame.
Okay, so we've been on for like an hour and 20. I can't let this one go. First of all, Taco Bell is actually not food.
Hold on. There's a reason. Okay.
You should not eat Taco Bell. I lecture my seniors about Taco Bell.
Hold on. There's a reason. So in college, I had a superstition that I had to mess up my stomach in some way so that I could
do it.
So that I could clean myself out, because I felt like I was lighter and could play faster.
Okay.
So in college, I ate a lot of Taco Bell before games.
That will do it. It's not actual meat, people. Do not eat Taco Bell. Do not eat. Go to Chipotle if you need fast food, but do not go to Taco Bell. What does your game day look like?
Teaching, dealing with that, and then finishing up that. And then afterwards, I like to watch some game film, and then I like to pick. This is kind of giving something away, a little secret I have. I like to pick a random play I find on Twitter and put it in my back pocket.
That's a good idea.
Have it just in case. And in case I need to draw up something that maybe their defense has figured out all of our stuff and they're stopping it, just to show something different.
I like that. That.
So I try to look on Twitter for just a random play to put in my back pocket. I might use it, might not. And then
it's X now, it's not Twitter, but go ahead. Yes.
Sorry, I apologize. Elon Musk, I'm so sorry.
Sorry, Elon.
Don't ban me. Don't move me off. So that, and then we do like a team meal before every game. The parents go on, and we all get together, and it's kind of cool because they do it around the same time the JV plays, and so we'll sit up. The way our gym is, you have a little upstairs room that you can sit and watch the gym, and so we sit up there and eat, just kind of hang out. And
that's nice. That's really nice. Yeah, I like that. I for me as a coach too, it's like we teach all day, and then I like that hour and a half after school's out. Like I don't go home. I mean, I used to run home when my kids were little, but I don't even go home anymore. I just stay there and I just kind of I'll watch some game film. I'll try to get myself in a good state of mind, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. Um, what's one thing you do to relax?
Ooh, man, there's a lot of things. Trying to pick one. Video games. I actually play video games to relax.
Really? I
I
used to
do.
do that a long time ago.
Yeah. I had one person tell me before I had kids that you would never play a video game as soon as your first child is born. And so that's been stuck in my head. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to play. I'm going to play
I used
despite.
to play Call of Duty all the time. We used to have it in the coaching office. That was the bad part. It was like, ooh, I had to move that out. That was not good. Do you have any superstitions
Besides Taco Bell,
besides Taco Bell?
I have the tie superstition sometimes. We lose a couple games with a tie. I won't wear the tie for a while. Um, I have I have certain things I have to listen to before games, and then um, I have one. It's a good superstition, but when the national anthem is playing, I start thinking stuff in my head. Just thankful for this, thankful for that. Think like just trying to get that mindset right where I'm mentally tough and just able to handle anything.
I know.
Uh,
I always move on one word. I won't tell you what word it is, but near the end of the national anthem, I'm always like we're facing it, and then that word starts near the end, and then I start walking. And yeah, it's because I'm always thinking during national anthem too. It's like I'm processing. I've heard it so many times that yeah, I love that. I love that. I do that too. I thought I was the only person. Best basketball player you have seen in person.
Ooh, Bam Adebayo. He came to a couple workouts when I got the job at High Point. That was a man amongst boys.
Best basketball player of all time.
Michael Jordan, the GOAT.
If you could only teach one skill, not general like defense, one skill at practice, what would you teach?
Dribbling.
Shot clock, yes or no?
Yes.
If you could change one thing about the game, what would you change?
I changed the new rule that they just put in. They took away the 1-on-1s, man.
Okay,
Hate
so we
that.
don't have that this year in our state because we play halves. We play two
Ah,
18-minute halves. We have no shot clock, but we play two 18-minute halves. So we get 4 extra minutes, and we won't be doing the rule.
man.
If you
I love the strategy behind the 1-on-1. I love that.
I
And
know you
now it's
won't shoot
gone.
as many. The stats teacher is going to tell you won't shoot as many free throws.
We shot more. So
No,
we played.
next year you won't. With
Oh,
the
I
new
got you.
rule,
I got you.
you won't because think about it. You don't get 2 until you get to 6, and
Yeah.
bonus was normally 7. How often would you get in the bonus in a quarter? Not very
Mm.
often, right?
No, I'd
Not
say
in the first quarter, and not in the third quarter. How often the games that you did, you remembered, right?
yeah.
So you will not shoot as many free throws. I don't think.
Mm.
There'll be less free throws. Is my guess. I don't know. I don't have the math behind it, but yeah, mine. If you've ever listened to the podcast, my rule change is get rid of the jump ball.
Why? Why? I mean, I haven't heard.
There's one jump ball in a year, one jump ball in a game at the beginning of the game. The officials are horrible at throwing it. We don't practice it. Give the visiting team the ball universally.
But we do practice it. We actually have plays off the jump ball.
But there's only one. The
Um,
cost benefit for that, especially if you have a 6'6" center, unless you're gonna go for
we
the steal.
yeah,
You're gonna
we
go for
are.
the steal. Yeah. So that's
we
the yeah.
we leave one guy open, and we have our fastest guys guard other
Yeah.
guys, and
Nice. That works.
well, and our rule is watch the ref's hand, because
Yep.
the ref's not looking at you as soon as he makes his motion, so you move as soon as he makes the
Makes it
motion.
motion.
Yep, before the ball even gets released, because he's not looking at you. He's looking at the ball.
How many officials are you have? 3?
3.
Interesting. I just think it's a stupid rule. It's an archaic rule. Why do we do it? Unless you're in the NBA, no one jumps ball anymore. It's alternating possession. So that's my theory with it. That's the one rule I want. I also want a bigger basketball court because the court's too small for the bodies, but that one's not going to happen anytime soon. Best game you've seen in person.
Best game I've seen in person. I would say the Louisville UNC game where Marcus Page hit the layup at the buzzer at the Dean Dome. That was a great game.
I remember that. Favorite quote or saying? We talked about this before.
Oh yeah. So if for anyone that's watched Quarterback, Kirk Cousins shares a quote, and his quote, I'm gonna pull it up real quick because I can say it, but I'm gonna say it wrong. I know I am. From Margaret Thatcher: "If my critics saw me walking on the River Thames, they would say it was because I couldn't swim."
Touche. Best team of all time.
Are we talking college or NBA or
best team of all time?
Best team of all time. Man, I'm going to go with Tyler Hansborough, Ty Lawson, UNC National Championship. Yeah, I'm going to go with that one right there.
Okay, he's wrong on that one. I'm just going to say he's wrong on that one. It's a nice team, but that's not the best team of all time, in my opinion. Best coach of all time.
Dean Smith.
Okay, knew that was coming. All right, so this is how I always end every podcast. You're still a puppy, so this is going to be a little bit harder for you. But what would you tell your younger self? What bit of advice, if you could go in a time machine to your younger coaching self, what bit of advice would you give your younger self?
Relationships are more important than X's and O's.
Amen. It's true. 100%. We're going to end with that. Thank you for coming on, Coach. That was awesome. That's the perfect ending to a podcast. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Hey, Coach, I'm glad you enjoy that. Let me know how I can help you become a better basketball coach, win some championships like this, win some rings like that. Let me know how I can help you. Doesn't matter what level you're at. I have been there. I've experienced it. Let me help you. Teachhoops.com is one way that we can help you do that.